Over in the pages of Marvel Comics, the X-Men barely survived a deadly attack over from anti-mutant group known as Orchis during their annual Hellfire Gala meant to celebrate mutant kind. Sadly, several mutants were taken off the board that day from Orchis, and their attack even featured a way to sabotage the X-Men's drugs, alienating their relationship with regular human beings. My name is Arako Braddock, and today, let's go ahead and see how Marvel's mutants are navigating the FallofX status quo over in the pages of X-Men issue 25. And before we get deeper into the video, want to encourage you to consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that like button if you enjoy our content. The Fall. She's been known as Kitty Pryde, Sprite, Ariel, Red Queen, and Captain Kate. Now, as a new X-Men team finds their way through their darkest hour, Shadowkat emerges. X-Men 25 is written by Gerry Duggan, featuring art from Stefano Caselli, colors from Marte Gracia. We have letters from VC's Clayton Cowles, design over from Tom Muller and Jay Bowen. Plus, we have this cover coming in directly over from Joshua Cassara and Marte Gracia. Really love the way this cover shows off Kitty Pryde's new identity as Shadowkat. I feel like X-Men 25 is largely centered around her as a character, and the way this cover really, I think, hones in on that status quo by introducing the new costume and the confrontation with Orchis is a great way to capture so many themes of the issue just from the cover. I want to extend a quick thank you over to Adventures in Poor Taste, and let's go ahead and spend a few moments basking in some of the artwork over from Stefano Caselli. So X-Men has had a few artists recently, but I was so happy that Stefano Caselli was able to go ahead and board this issue, mainly because it feels like the kind of status quo for the X-Men is in such a dark place right now that we definitely need someone who's going to be able to reflect that level of tension. And I feel like Stefano Caselli's faces always give that sense of urgency across so many of these issues. Take a look at the second page of our preview here, showing off the face of Dr. Stasis. I feel like all the wrinkles in his head give that sense of urgency that we were just kind of hinting at over in the issue. Also, some of the other characters who sadly passed away during the Hellfire Gala also have this really tense and forebodingly sad look that makes this Daily Bugle headline and story feel like such a bad piece of PR over for Marvel's mutants. Elsewhere in the saga, I think the way that Caselli is able to capture so many of the different expressions for the characters as well. Firestar Angelica is playing a really interesting role in the pages of this X-Men story, and the way her complicated expressions are captured over from Caselli capture, I think, her really afraid sense of kind of what's next for her as a character. Elsewhere here, Stefano Caselli had a lot of work to do, as this issue of X-Men is a huge landmark issue. Over in this chapter of X-Men, Stefano Caselli had a lot of work to do, as this is a massive issue of X-Men, and this issue is real to capture this kind of nuanced rendition over from Captain Krakoa, which was already kind of recontextualized in a different comic book, is yet another fantastic way to experience some of the artwork over in the series. Over in terms of the script on X-Men 25, the way the issue opened with Kitty talking to Susan was such a great way to reflect on the kind of direction of the series. I love it when author Gerry Duggan kind of zooms in on some of these nuanced character interactions with people on benches, kind of discussing some of the themes of the series. We've seen Dugan take on this kind of storyline with characters like Ben Urich in the past, so watching the kind of re-exploration of some of these themes and scenarios is a great way to kind of echo past issues of X-Men. Throughout the issue, it seems like Duggan is kind of teasing the actual status quo behind Kitty, and really appreciate the way that Duggan really kind of And I really appreciate the way that Duggan pays off this status quo as readers get to the final couple pages of the storyline. Watching Kitty develop over the course of this issue was one of the most endearing aspects over in X-Men 25. Another part of this series that I really have to commend Dugan for is the fact that characters like Firestar are still referenced, who have been such a big part of previous X-Men issues. Also, the kind of tie between Firestar and Kitty in this issue definitely opened the door for so much intrigue. Also, the moments in the storyline with Sync once again opened up his character and has shown just how far Sync has come as an X-Men in particular over these past couple issues. X-Men 25 also expands on the role of Kamala Khan in the X-Men universe. Watching Kamala's resolve get tested so early on in the series managed to really capture my interest and also illustrate to me that this kind of integration of Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, into the X-Men is something that's carefully plotted and planned out in terms of Marvel's editorial. I feel like there's more status quo